Good afternoon. My name is Armando Ariano. I'm the radio producer with the Lab Learning Action Buffet. Doña Ana Community College and the lab are partners on a Humanities Action Lab project funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, among others, and coordinated by personnel at Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey. Today, I'm joined by Anthony Diaz, the founder of the Newark Water Coalition and a member of the Humanities Action Lab project. Thank you, Anthony, for agreeing to be interviewed.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited about this. Anthony, could you tell our listeners both, this is going to be kind of like a cross-state project. So could you tell all the listeners who find this about yourself and your role with the Newark Water Coalition?
So, hey everybody, my name is Anthony Diaz. I'm the co-founder and executive director of the Newark Water Coalition. We're a social justice organization founded in 2018 to combat the lead crisis that was happening in the city of Newark. Now we do a lot of food work, housing work. We kind of just talk about every issues, but with the focus around climate change, environmental justice, and water being at the core, and then using that as a way to talk about the intersectionality of all the struggles that we do. So it's led us to different things. You know, we do community fridges, we do food distributions. We just opened up an office where we're planning on hosting community events. And I'm plan on speaking at the United Nations Climate of the Parties Conference in Egypt this year.
Wow, that's exciting. Congratulations. When you get to go to Egypt?
In November.
Wow. And you already have your passport and all that important stuff?
Yes.
That's good. I don't have one yet. And youth listening, get your passport so you can travel the world. Cool. So, all right, Anthony. So you're part of the Newark Water Coalition, and you guys, like, your main parts are the food, the water, and the housing. Could you expand more about your community fridge? That was something that whenever we met at the convention that I personally was like, hey, that's a really cool idea. That is I think it's worth implementing. I see could you just expand more on that one, please?
Yeah. So, we do food distributions, but then there's a need for food 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'm scrolling on Instagram and then I see this community refrigerator, just a refrigerator, a small hut. It's outside. Anybody can get food. And I'm like, yo, this is really cool. How come our city doesn't have one? And, usually instead of being all right, you know what, I'm going to ask my city council and all this, I just do it. We're just going to do it ourselves and figure out a way to make this happen and make it a way to serve our community. And then during the pandemic, there's all this talk about mutual aid and what that looks like and what that means. And for me, we do food distributions, but mutual aid to me is these pantries and these community refrigerators. Because if I die tomorrow or our organization goes away tomorrow, these pantries, these community refrigerators still exist. And not only that, I have one outside my house. And, I barely fill it up these days because other people in the community are filling it up. And that's what mutual aid is really about. It's community serving communities. And so, it takes us out of the equation and allows our community to, do what it does and take care of each other. The other thing is the blessings that, the notes that we receive. Oh, because of you, I'm able to eat tonight. Thank you for whoever runs this. This is a great program and blah, 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 blah. And so, for us, it's, or at least for me, what I've learned is you push out all this good into the world and you receive it back and then you push it out. And I really see that with the community refrigerators.
That's cool. What kind of food do you put in a community refrigerator? Since it's out there in the community, and the summers are hot, the winters are cold, and it's it's outside.
So it's literally anything. We get random donations. So I'm not I've seen other community refrigerators have themes. So there's vegan ones and hot food or freezers or all this other stuff. We're whatever we get, we put in the fridge. If it's there, it's there. If people don't take it, then we throw it out. And, we kind of just keep this cycle. But I have to tell you that almost everything that we've ever put into the refrigerator has always gone out.
That's good. That's really good. Nice. And so, okay, there's also water and housing that you guys like really like focus on. So how's the lead issue in Newark changed since you guys have like found it and like you've been like, hey, like this is an issue.
So when we first started, like people didn't care at all, and like sometimes they still don't care.
Yeah.
But we advocated for all of our lead service lines to be replaced. So the city did this. We protested in the streets. We did town halls. We did educational programs, and I think what's interesting now is like we're going in December. We'll be 4 years old, and
Wow,
what
that's
we
exciting.
see is I mean, it's great, but I realize how young we are. But
Yeah.
it's interesting to see from start to like now where we've gone, and so we're advocating for lead legislation. We're launching a research project right now. So the way that we fight this issue or educate on this issue has grown from like, hey, there's a problem to now we're looking at the data, we're doing our own research, we're trying to make the information public. And we're trying to show other community groups like, hey, you can do this work too. Citizen science is a real thing.
Yeah.
So I think like nowadays it's more about the high level kind of approach and kind of figuring out like what's the best way to educate our community, what's the best way to fight on this issue.
Nice. And what kind of housing stuff has the coalition been a part of or facing like within New York? I know we expanded on it, but for our listeners out there, they don't know. Some of them don't live in New Jersey, or maybe a lot of them don't. Who knows? We're gonna find out as we put these out there.
So it's just like in the world there's a lot of gentrification going on, and so in Newark is probably one of the ground zeros for gentrification, especially on the East Coast.
Mhm.
And so what you see is a lot of people being pushed out of their housing.
Yeah.
At the same time, Newark has one of the strongest rent control ordinances in the country. But the thing that this is what I always say about policy is like you can have the best policies and legislations on the books, but if nobody's enforcing it, then it doesn't serve our people.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work that we do now is like know your rights. We partnered with the Rutgers Law Clinic in order to do like hey, these are open house or open office sessions where you can come in and talk about your landlord tenant issues and things like that. And so right now, like that's the biggest part. One of the ideas that I want to do this year is create this kind of Newark Water Coalition Housing Resource Center.
Ooh, that's
Like
cool.
have it live online, so it'll be like your know your rights videos. It would. I really want to do this idea of a graphic novel. So using Newark Water Coalition and a housing theme, we could release this graphic novel. So it's just always trying to do innovative ideas and not the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, no, I feel that. That's sick. And so, Anthony, we got to meet because of the HAL project and the convening. So how long has the coalition been part of the HAL project, and like what impact has it had on the work that you guys are able to do and have done in the last couple of years, or however
I
long
think
you've been part of it?
I think we've been part of it for like maybe 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
And one of the things that HAL has allowed us to get secure more funding.
Hmm.
It has allowed us to get institutional support. It has allowed us to talk to different people, meet people like yourself, and kind of exert our network or grow our network even more.
Hmm.
Um, and what I really like about how is like they allow their partners to take the lead. It's never like this is how you need to be doing things. Things need to be done this way. This is our way of doing things.
Yeah.
It's always like, all right, let's co-create. All right,
Yeah.
like what's the model that works for you? All right, what's the model that's best for your organization? And they allow us to take the reins on a lot of different things. And for me, I really, really appreciate that in partnerships because sometimes you don't get that. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard. You feel like, all right, I'm the little grassroots guy. So I kind of have to like, be quiet and sit and listen in the background.
Yeah.
And it's not that way with Hal.
Yeah. No, it isn't. I really like how I like the mutual mentorship stuff that we did because I was like, hey, this is real. Like, we're actually doing teamwork. So, Anthony, what are your hopes for the future in terms of like efforts like HAL and like anything like that moving forward? now that we're like
Well,
doing really well?
so my thing these days now is like I'm an old man and I just preach fire and brimstone because I want people doing stuff. Like I don't
Yeah.
care what you do, how you want to organize, what project initiative you want to take on. Just do something. I like these days I feel like everyone talks.
Yeah.
Everyone really just like, hey, come listen to me. This is my tactics and da 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 da. But they're like, but you don't do anything. You're not really tackling the problems, systemic issues that we're facing if all you're doing is talking about it and
Yeah.
planning. And so, like, we don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
Our planet is dying. We're going to face some crazy food shortages coming up.
Hmm.
And so I'm not, you can't talk away these issues. You have to be in the streets. You have to be in your community. You have to move the needle whatever way possible. Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's my hope is that you know, we get more builders, we get more creators, we get more engineers, we get more coalition partners, more people that want to start coalitions, more people that want to start projects, more people that want to share their knowledge and not hoard resources and not hoard, just anything.
Hmm.
So my hope is that we just do something.
Yeah, no, I hear that. That's a big thing is action. Anthony, what are some helpful suggestions regarding environmental justice that you could give to the people of Newark specifically, or even just like our other listeners across the platform who will come across this podcast at some point, hopefully?
The biggest thing that I've learned is that your experience matters. Whether you're an amateur or a novice just getting into this work, whether you don't know anything at all, the history necessary in these spaces, especially if you are a person of color. There are so many times where I've discounted myself of being like, you know what, I don't think I belong here, or you know what, I don't think this place makes sense for me. But then I realized that there's moments in my life that, oh, I can talk about this.
Yeah.
Or, they're not necessarily using, or we're not using the same vocabulary, but I know what they're talking about.
Hmm.
I feel what's going on. These things affect me. And so instead of saying like your experience and who you are don't matter, show up in your whole experience. Show up as yourself because you do matter and you are needed in these spaces.
Nice.
I
That's a
think
good
that's the
one.
biggest.
That's great. No, I love that personally. What are some words of wisdom that you can offer to less experienced activists or activists on the rise? Or, maybe after they hear this, they're like, you know what, I do want to do something and like go start something.
I would say the biggest words of wisdom is you can't do this work without showing up for yourself, and that it's a balance. That I have run this organization literally through sheer will the last 4 years, and I'm tired now.
Yeah.
So it's a balance.
Hmm.
Take care of yourselves, both mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I think that's what gives you longevity in the movement. That's what helps you keep the burden of this work. But there are some days where I don't have it, and I tell my team that, hey, I don't have it today,
Yeah.
and they're understanding. And there's some oftentimes that we choose to take on this burden of social justice, and we self-sacrifice personal relationships,
Hmm.
friendships, all in the sake of like, oh, we got to do this for the movement.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is self-imposed responsibility and not real responsibility. So just always take care of yourselves.
Yeah, that's for the youth too. Listen to that youth. Take care of yourselves. You see it. Just that's what I started doing. That I observed the people around me, and I was like, oh, a lot of people are tired. But yeah, no, thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts on these important issues, and for agreeing to be part of this interview. This has been so much fun. You can find. Tell me if this is correct. You can find more new information on the Newark Water Coalition at newarkwatercoalition.com. Is that
Yes.
that's Is there any other places that you want me to plug? there for information for you guys?
Yeah, we're on IG. Our Instagram is clean water, the number 4 Newark. Our TikTok is Newark WC. I think we have a Twitter, but if you go to our website, you should see all these things.
Yeah, it'll have all the stuff. Cool. And then for our listeners out there, more information on the HAL project can be found at humanitiesactionlab.org, and more information about the Lab Learning Action Buffet can be found at lablc.org. Thank you for your time and take care.